Mr. Constantine, I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know the circles you travel in. The occult, exorcisms.
Easy there, hero. That's dragon's breath.
I thought you couldn't get it anymore.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Hello, and welcome to Viva La Action, the podcast where we're talking all things action movies, good, bad, and underrated. My name is Santi, and with me as always is my co-host, Grayson.
What's up?
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm chilling. I'm vibing.
You're vibing?
Yeah.
Vibing or vibrating?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, normally at this point, I would shoehorn my way into a really shitty way of telling people to review the podcast.
Yeah.
But I was looking at our YouTube statistics recently, and I found that people tend to switch off as soon as I do that. So I'm definitely not going to ask you to review the podcast.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't want you to switch off this video. Please don't.
Yeah.
So I won't be asking you to leave 5 stars as a review or to comment or like the video.
Yeah.
So I won't be doing that. I hope you haven't clicked off yet.
Please stick around. We got some fun things to say.
We do, because we are a movie podcast. Mm-hmm. And this week we talked about a movie.
Yeah, we did.
Which is highly unusual for us.
I know. We never do that.
We've never done it before.
First time we're doing it.
We're virgins. And we're going to do it live on air.
So get ready.
We talked about Constantine this week.
Yep.
The 2005 comic book horror action film.
Yes.
This movie was directed by Francis Lawrence, and it was written by Kevin Broadbent and Frank Capello. The movie stars one Keanu Reeves.
Hell yeah.
Co-starring Rachel Weisz, Shia LaBeouf. LaBeouf, Tilda Swinton, Pruitt Taylor Vince, Jimon Hansu, Gavin Rossdale, and Peter Stormare.
Was the Taylor Winston or whatever the hell her name was?
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton. Was she in Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Okay.
She is.
Galadriel?
No, that's. Oh no! Wait, was she in Lord of the Rings? No, Galadriel is, fucking, what's her nuts?
Well said.
She's Hela in Thor.
Tilda Swinton.
Her name is...
Oh no, she's in Chronicles of Narnia.
Yes.
Yeah, she's the evil witch.
That's right. Yes. She's also in Doctor Strange.
Yes, she is. Oh, yeah, because she's the little monk lady.
Little monk lady, yep. She's the ancient one.
The ancient one.
In this, she's Gabriel.
Yes, the angel.
Correct. This is great podcast listening.
It's really good stuff. Anyway.
It's always... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. She looked familiar. I was like, oh, yeah, I think she's in Lord of the Rings. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong.
That's okay. I was going to say, we whenever we do that, where we pause to, like, Google something, that's a lot of fun to edit. Because it's just, like, a minute of silence.
Yeah, as I'm looking through my fucking phone.
And it's us going, what the fuck is her name?
Yeah.
Oh, that's her name. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Anyway, so, stars all those people.
Yep. They did great.
46% critical score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, well,
not great, but 72% audience score.
That's what I'm talking about.
50% on Metacritic, so half and half. So before we get into the film's plot and its history and its themes and all that fun stuff, what did you think of it?
It was fucking awesome. It was so good. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
It was genuinely kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they did a really good job with, like, the demons and, like, the body horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Keanu did a fantastic job.
He's wonderful.
Now, I don't know jack shit about Constantine. I've only seen him in a couple of DC animated stuff and then this.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how like accurate. According to my roommate, she said that this is nowhere near the correct characterization of Constantine. But it's whatever. I still had a fun time.
Well, so we'll talk about the comic book version of Constantine, because I read a little bit of Constantine this week, and then I researched him a bunch. But this is the first time I'd seen this movie like all the way through. I'd watched like the start of it, and then I'd seen like clips of it on TV and stuff. But we had just talked about like we wanted to do a Keanu movie that was kind of under the radar. And this one, funnily enough, now is like become like a cult hit, like, you know, big with a certain number of fans, and recently got greenlit for a sequel. So
are you serious?
Yeah, so that's in development right now.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I was surprised. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. It's very like dark and you know, scary, like you said, and I really like the designs of everything in this world, and I like that. And like your roommate was saying, it's kind of a departure from the comic book version of Constantine, but I think all the changes they make and the choices they make are really interesting.
Yes.
And I think it all just culminates in just a really good movie.
Yeah.
You know, even if it was unconnected to anything else and like whatever, it would still just slap.
Right. No, it's wonderful.
Yeah. So, to get into the nitty gritty a little bit. So, if you haven't seen the film before, the synopsis from IMDb says that this movie is about a supernatural exorcist and demonologist, John Constantine, who helps a policewoman prove her sister's death was not a suicide, but something more. Very sinister.
Yeah.
But basically the plot is that good old John Constantine, played by Keanu Reeves.
Yep.
He's a demonologist.
Yep.
He's an exorcist. He's a chain smoking son of a bitch.
Yep.
He's you know, he's kind of this like for hire like deal with supernatural stuff guy. Like, he's not really a superhero.
No.
He doesn't have like powers. He just like he knows some spells.
Yeah.
And he's got like some knowledge.
Yeah.
And we find out it's because he tried to commit suicide, but was brought back by paramedics.
Yeah.
And so he found out that he went to hell when he died. And he's like trying to buy his way into heaven, basically by just doing as many, you know, good things as he can. But he's very like cynical, and you know, he's just like, he takes no shit.
Yeah.
He's mean, and so he discovers that Rachel Weisz's character, she has a twin sister who is killed. They think it's a suicide, but maybe it's not. And he, you know, through some circumstances, discovers that it technically was a suicide, but she was trying to keep out this, like, he's the son of Satan, who's trying to come back to Earth, and there's some forces at work. We are going to spoil the plot as we go through, so if you haven't seen it before, maybe stop there. But that's the basic plot. It's loosely based on, like we said, the DC/Vertigo Comics character John Constantine. He first appeared in Swamp Thing, so which I believe was being written by Alan Moore at the time. If you don't know anything about Alan Moore, he's created a whole bunch of like really iconic comic book characters. So he created Watchmen.
Oh shit.
He created V for Vendetta. He's the author of From Hell, which is this like really famous Jack the Ripper story.
I'm starting to see a theme here with his work.
Yes. He did... what's the... League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. he also famously hates his work being adapted, and he will get his name removed from everything. So if you'll notice in this movie, like in the credits, they don't mention his name anywhere. It's just like based on DC Comics or whatever.
Yeah.
So his name is not on this, but he was created by Alan Moore. In the comic books, he is British.
Yes.
So that's one of the big differences between this adaptation and his comic book character. And then he's also blonde, which is the big thing.
Yep.
And there's something else. He's like, there's a couple of differences. I found like it because I read some of the Hellblazer comics, which was his solo series.
Gotcha.
I found that the Keanu portrayal was like the characterization I didn't think was that far off. Like I felt like they are very similar characters.
Yeah.
Especially like early Constantine where he's like kind of mean and like, you know, just a dick to everybody.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that because I think now it's kind of rare to see Keanu playing that kind of character.
Yeah.
Where he's just like just a
Mean.
bitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I like that when he first meets Rachel Weisz, he's like fuck off. Like I don't like you. Like don't go near me, like whatever.
Go away.
Yeah. I like that anytime somebody has like an encounter with the supernatural, he's just like whatever. Yeah.
This is just another Tuesday.
Yeah, so I lost my train of thought, but so this is, I think, is this the first comic book movie we've covered?
I believe so. Yes, I believe so.
I think they do a good job of like doing the comic book thing, but I think you could also show this movie to someone who didn't know it was a comic book movie, and they would just think it's like a supernatural horror action film. And I just like, I don't know, this movie makes so many interesting choices that I just really like. And I thought it was just a good movie. I
it's wonderful.
Really liked it.
Yeah. So the other two things that I've seen with Constantine, I forget the names. It was like Justice League Apocalypse or something. And I guess that's, they animate him as British and blonde and whatever. And he's not like a dick. He's just kind of like off-putting. Yeah. And he's just like standoffish.
Yeah.
And so seeing the two side by side, I was like, oh, okay, I can see why people are kind of like, oh yeah, that was trash. I was like, whatever, it's, here's the thing. It's a made-up character. Yeah, you can kind of do whatever you want. Yeah, I know that like you kind of have to stick to some of the characterization, like, or else it just becomes a whole new character. Right. But like, I feel like the hair thing and the British thing, get over it. Yeah. But no, it was fun. There's a scene in one of those animated movies. Where it is heavily implied that John Constantine fucked King Shark. Yes, yeah. And I think that's the funniest thing ever. Yeah. I think it's that same movie where it's implied that he also fucked one of the Green Lanterns. Yes. So, it seems like John Constantine is just a huge slut. Yes. In this movie, I think they make him out to be more like asexual. Like he doesn't really seem interested in anything like that. No. But you said something that I was going to touch on briefly, which is that I think what's often forgotten about, like with comic book movies, is that it's like they're like interpretations of the character. Yeah. Like one of the comic book movies that everybody loves, forever and ever is The Dark Knight, right? And it's like, it's this hailed as this masterpiece or whatever, but it's like it's not super faithful to like Batman comic books. He's this like kind of real world Batman. He's not very comic booky or anything. No. And people love that. So it's like, I think you can make some changes. Yeah. And, it's a different medium, right? It's like, it's a movie. It's not, and I think for the time, because this came out in 2005,
So, special effects aren't what they are now and all that sort of thing. So I think they make some interesting choices that I think are justified in the final product.
Yes.
And I think Keanu is an interesting choice because at that time, at 2005, he had just finished the Matrix sequels, and he was coming off of this amazing, run of movies. And I think he was kind of wanting to do something a little bit different. He wanted to be. He was talking. I watched this. It was during COVID when they did Comic-Con at home. And it was this panel. It was the 15-year anniversary of Constantine. And so it was Keanu Reeves. It was Francis Lawrence, the director. And then it was Akiva Goldsman, who's one of the producers on the film. And they were just doing a panel about Constantine. And Keanu was just saying that he hadn't really read any Constantine before he got the script or anything, but he just loved the character, just the the meatiness of it, he's this guy who's been to the other side, right? And I think the choice that he makes to make Constantine cynical and mean, I understand it because I feel if you were the kind of person who saw the devil, and you had to deal with him, you'd be who cares? Nothing matters,
right? It's. I feel the John Constantine is almost a little bit similar to Ron Swanson, right? Where he's I know more than you, and I'm not going to put up with any of your shit, right? I'm I work by myself. This whole thing, no real friends, just this grizzled man that is just out to just get shit done. You know? I also lost all of my thoughts.
That's okay.
Oh boy. We're rusty.
We are rusty. We for a little behind the scenes look, we have not recorded in about 3 weeks, nearly 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We tend to front load these, so it's just we haven't even seen each other in 3 weeks. But
I didn't realize Shia LaBeouf was in this.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until I was watching it again. And it's young Shia LaBeouf.
It is. It's very young Shia LaBeouf. And he has a very minimal... I mean, okay.
He's only in 3 scenes.
Right. Yeah. And then towards the end, he's kind of important, and then he just dies.
Did you watch the after credits scene?
Oh, there was an after credits scene?
It's all the way after the credits.
Bitch, I did not.
He comes back as an angel, and he flies away.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, he's not, because this was even Stevens era Shia LaBeouf, so he hadn't done Transformers or Indiana Jones or anything like that. He was still a kid actor. Yeah. Even though he was probably 28. But
yeah.
I thought he was good. He didn't, he doesn't do much, but I like the idea that he's this puppy dog who follows Constantine around, and Constantine's just using him.
Right. It's just that's my chauffeur.
Yeah, he's just whatever.
Yeah.
But I do like that he gets his little moment at the end.
Yes.
Oh my! So I was thinking about because one of the things I think this movie does really, really well is that the tone is perfect. It strikes a great balance between being super serious, but then the jokes land really well.
Yes.
And there's one joke in particular because there's this club and it's run by Papa Midnight.
Yes.
Who is played by Jimon Hansu, who I just love. He's just every time he shows up in something, I'm oh, there he is.
My guy. Yeah.
But so he runs this club, and in order to get in, you have a bouncer holds up a card, and you have to guess what's on the other side of it, right? And the idea being if you're an angel or a demon or whatever, you can see
right.
You have whatever sight. And so every time Constantine enters the club, he's oh, it's 2 rabbits on a ladder, or it's 2 snakes eating a bitch, or whatever,
Yeah.
And the final time he goes in, he's he holds it up and he's it's 2 rats on a ladder, and he's sorry, John, and then he just decks him.
Just punches him right in the face. Yeah, and then Shia LaBeouf's character does something that I love, which is like, because his character is not very tough, right, he's just like a skinny little twig. He's more of a book guy than a street fight guy. And he's like, he like walks up to him and he's like, what? Right? And he does like that thing and kind of like kicks him. Which was very good. Yes. But yeah, that was a good moment.
It's so, to bring it back a little bit. So it's directed by Francis Lawrence, who most people would know him from directing the Hunger Games sequels. Oh. So he did like Catching Fire and
the other one.
The other ones. Mockingjay. I don't know. Anyway,
who cares?
He also directed Red Sparrow, which is this like KGB like spy thriller film that people don't like because I think they thought it was like a Black Widow kind of thing, but it's like it's more of like a hardcore kind of really sad and violent movie, but I really like it. The writers, they hadn't really done anything that I'd seen before. Frank Capello, who's one of the writers, he wrote Suburban Commando, which
what the fuck is that?
Suburban Commando is a Hulk Hogan,
oh my god,
like comedy action movie. It's bizarre. We should watch it. But so that I didn't really recognize anything else they'd done. But Francis Lawrence, before he directed this, he was a music video director. Oh. So he'd done like a Lady Gaga video.
Oh, okay.
He'd done like a whole bunch of stuff. And I think one of the things that he does really well is like style, because I think this movie is really stylish and like interesting. And I think he brings a sentiment to it that you wouldn't get from like a regular director. Yeah. You know, like there's a great, the opening sequence I think is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
It's very good.
Because it just opens like in like a corridor. Yeah. And you just see them like walking down the corridor and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And there's like, you know, the lady that he exercises. Yeah. But I love that like they show you a lot of stuff, but they never like explain it to you. Yeah. You know, like he's like, get the mirror, and they're like doing all the stuff with the mirror, but they're not like, we use a mirror because of blah, 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 blah. Right. You know, they're just like, get the mirror, and he like throws the demon in the mirror, and then he like throws it out the window. Yep. But I just, that whole sequence, it felt like very like noir, like the director was talking about like, you know, because anytime they're at Comic-Con, these moderators always ask these like stupid questions.
Well, yeah.
But he asked this question, and it was like, you know, at that time it was like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and like, did you watch other comic book movies to like get inspiration? And the director was like, no. Like, he was like, what he was saying was that he watched stuff like The Third Man and The Maltese Falcon and like all these like classic noirs. Yeah. And I think you get the sense of that. Like, it's this like dirty, like horrible LA. Yeah. You know, like where everyone's just mean and it's like always raining.
Yeah. it's like, it's not the glorified, like romanticized part of LA. Right. It's like it's that, like, you know, like in Albuquerque, you know, it's like downtown Albuquerque at night, right? Where you're just like, I don't want to be here anymore. Right. And so, I thought that was really good. It allowed me to like have to not like suspend as much disbelief, because I was like, this is just like, this is normal. Yeah. Right. This is like, there's no glamorous things. It's like the Batman with fucking Edward.
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Yeah. You know, that Gotham was like just any other city. There was nothing like fancy about it. And so I really enjoyed the like how they designed all of the areas. Yeah. Did you notice all the crosses?
Yes.
Yeah, oh my god. So many. Anyway.
But no, I think you touched on something that I was thinking about, which is that like, I feel like something that's missing from modern comic book movies, and you still see it sometimes, but I think now, like, comic book movies try really hard to make everything like the real world, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, you think about like a Marvel movie, like they all just set it in like modern day
New
Earth,
York
and
or
it's
whatever.
like
Yeah.
New York just looks like New York, except sometimes there's holograms or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I like about this movie, and I think about it too with like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, or like even like Tim Burton's Batman or whatever, like it's this like, it's like not the real world, if it makes sense. Like it's this like stylized, like, you know, like I said, like it's always raining and it's always, you know, nighttime, and it's always like dirty and awful in LA or whatever. You know, like I like that because it kind of like puts you in another place. Yeah. And I don't know, it just, I like the vibe of this movie. Like it all feels like dirty and awful.
Yeah.
And like,
because, you know, we're dealing with somebody who is not, like you said, like a superhero, but like he has these other powers and abilities that make him, that elevate him a little bit above like human. Right. But, you know, because, you know, with all the Marvel movies, we see them all the time in fucking Stark Tower, right? Right. It's these just like wealthy superheroes that are living lavishly, but they're like, oh, I have all these problems. No, you don't. Right? Your problems are weird and convoluted. John Constantine is dealing with lung cancer. Right. Yeah. Like he's smoking 30 packs a day or whatever. And he's also dealing with demons and just these like incompetent people or whatever, they're just getting in his way. And so just it humanizes him, I think, a little bit.
I do like that he is just punching darts all day long. Like he's never not smoking. Yeah. I just found that so wonderful that he's just like, and I think it's like, okay, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't smoke cigarettes.
Oh, absolutely.
They're bad for you. Yeah. They look horrible.
If you're smoking in 2023, what are you doing? You look like an idiot.
Yeah. But also, it looks so cool.
Oh, it's so good.
Like, I do kind of miss when people smoked in movies, because it's just like, you know, like he'll just be standing outside and he's just like, and he's just like smoking.
Yeah, he does that cool thing where he smacks it and pulls it out of the carton with his teeth and he lights it up. Yeah, his lighter was cool too.
It was very cool.
I like that lighter.
I like that, like, because Keanu, I think, we got to talk about Keanu, because I think he, even though he is beloved, I think, and he's kind of at this moment now where he's like untouchable, I think he is kind of underrated as a performer. Yes. Because I think he adds little things to characters that I think don't get noticed as much. Yeah. And one of the things I like that he plays with Constantine is that he plays him like a man who is just clenched up. Yeah. Every second. Yep. Like every movement he makes is like jerky and like aggressive. Yeah. And he's like, he doesn't pick things up. He like grabs it and like lifts it, you know? And there's like, the director was talking about like, there's this scene where he's in Rachel Weisz's apartment and he's like gonna, you know, go see if her sister is in hell, right?
Right, yeah.
And he sits down and he puts his feet in the water, which was horrific.
Like,
wet socks.
Wet socks, yeah. It was awful.
But he's got the cat on his lap and he just like grabs its face.
Yeah. During that scene, I was very afraid that they were going to kill that cat. Yes. I was like, please don't. Just let the cat live.
They talked about that. They were like, we kind of wanted you to feel like he could just like skin the cat. Like,
oh, that would have been horrible.
But he didn't. He didn't, right. Which is good. But, I think he adds a lot to the character. And just like his head movements and just like the way he is like, he doesn't walk, he like stomps around. Yeah. And like, you know, I get the sense that he put a lot into like the physicality. Yes. That I don't think gets talked about enough. Like, because I watched John Wick on Friday, and I was watching that and I was just like amazed at like, you know, those two characters are like
so different.
So different, even though they're very similar, like in terms of, you know, whatever. Like the way he plays John Wick as just this like mountain, right? Like he's just this like horrifying, you know, like monster of a man. Yeah. But his physicality is like so different than how he plays John Constantine. You know, like Constantine's always like slouched and he's, you know, he's tense and he's angry and he's whatever.
He's miserable.
And John Wick is just like head held high, you know, like shoulders back on a mission, you know, like But yeah, well, Keanu, he's wonderful. He is, and I think that touches on that idea that you brought up about him being like an underrated performer because like looking at like, you know, Neo, John Constantine, and John Wick as three different characters, they are so vastly different in how he like portrays them. Yeah. And it emphasizes like how good of an actor he is because when you like you could just have like no dialogue and like a silhouette of the movement and go, that's John Wick, or that's Neo. Exactly, right? Because he is that good. Yeah, and I think what's so funny about Keanu, right? Like, I think he gets held up to a certain standard now because everybody, you know, is like, oh, he's like the nicest guy in the world or whatever. And for a lot of celebrities, I'm like, like I don't really buy it or whatever. Yeah. But what's funny is when you watch him in an interview, like he has this air about him where he's just like so uncomfortable with like being a celebrity. Yeah. And there's this great moment where he's like, the interviewer was saying something like, you know, oh, I went to the set of this movie you were on and you made a point of being there and it was so wonderful or whatever. Like, you know, do you keep that in mind when you're doing whatever? And you could tell Keanu was just like, and he goes, I can't, whatever. I just, you know, and he just like changed the subject. Yeah. Because you could tell he's just like, he's just one of those people who just like, he doesn't think about himself. Like he just thinks about like his work, and he just really likes acting. Yeah. And he's just like, he just happened to accidentally be famous. Yeah. And he doesn't know what to do with that. Yeah. He's like what do I do? Did you see the interview where it's like the puppy interview where they just unleash all these puppies on him? During that whole interview, he was like more concerned with just like hanging out with the little puppies than doing the interview, which is, you know, that it's the same idea of like he doesn't think he's famous. He's just like, oh sweet, I get to hang out with puppies for a little bit. They're asking me questions and it's whatever, but man, look at all these dogs. I know. Yeah, he seems lovely. He seems like a very sweet man. Because this week too, like they released a bunch of stuff for John Wick 4, so I've just been watching a lot of Keanu stuff. And I just he's just one of those guys where like you understand why he's a movie star. Yeah. You know, like you watch him and you're just like, I get it. You just can't take your eyes off of him. You know, like I'm just like in love with him. Just, you know, like a little bit. Like I was watching Speed, right? Have you ever seen Speed? No. Oh, I love Speed, but and I love doing Speed. No. Oh boy. But again, in that he's like a hotshot cop, right? And he's like loose and fun or whatever. Yeah. And just the whole time you're just like, I'm gonna kiss you, Keanu. You know? Like just wet and sloppy on the lips. Anyway, I think he's lovely. Yeah. Well, and there's that other movie that he's in where he plays himself. Always Be My Maybe. Yeah, Always Be My Maybe. That exaggerated version of himself. Yes. Yeah. It's so good. He's very good in that. It's so good. And I bet you that might, if you ask him, that might be one of his favorite parts. Only because, like, you could tell that he was just having a blast. Yeah. Right? Because it was clear that, like, the director, whoever, was just like, yeah, just be yourself. Yeah. Right? Here's some lines, but you can kind of just ham it up a little bit. Well, what's funny about that movie, because I think something a lot of people don't know is that Keanu he's a quarter Chinese, I think. Oh, really? Or he's a quarter... It's something like that. Like, he's part Asian. Right. And so he often gets cast as, like, someone who's, like, half Asian or something like that. Oh, okay. But he got cast in that movie, Always Be My Maybe, because the director, Ali Wong... Or, she was the writer. Yeah. And she's also one of the co-stars in it. She was talking about how she was, like... They were trying to think, they were like, we want like a famous like Asian actor to like come in and play this role, right? Like the you know, unreachable celebrity that she just happens to, you know, be dating or whatever. Yeah. And they were like, Keanu, like let's get Keanu. Yeah. And they wrote this version of him that, you know, he's like crazy and he's like mean and whatever.
Yeah.
And they showed him the script and he was like, let's do it. Like,
That's
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Like, he showed up and they said that, everyone on set was like, it's Keanu or whatever. And he was just like, hi, everyone. Like,
let's
and just
party.
Totally game for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I get the feeling that if somebody asked him, like, hey, can you just, like, show up in this thing for 5 minutes? He'd be like, okay.
Yeah, sure, whatever. I got nothing going on.
Like, he's a tumbleweed in, what is it, one of the SpongeBob movies?
Oh, really?
He shows up, it's just a tumbleweed. Huh. He's Batman in DC League of Super Pets, I think.
Oh.
So he's just, like, he seems like he's just game to do whatever.
Whatever, yeah. It's like, my schedule's free? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes.
Yeah, whatever.
But... yeah, I could talk all day about Keanu. He just seems like a lovely man.
Oh, he's wonderful. I love that picture of him running away from the paparazzi with a fucking camera.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's so funny.
It is very funny. I was reading about, because the sad Keanu meme. Have you ever seen that?
No, I don't think
It's like
so.
him eating a sandwich, and he's like...
oh.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah. Here's one of those infamous minutes of silence as we look something up on our phones at the audience.
Fill some space.
Here
we go, found it. You ever seen that?
I've not. Oh, yeah, poor guy.
Sad Keanu meme. But I was reading about it, and they were talking about how he was like... somebody asked him, and they were like, what was going on in that picture or whatever? He was like, I don't know. I was eating a sandwich, and I was tired.
Yeah,
he's like, I appreciate that people are concerned, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting about him is that, like, he's one of those people who he has had a very sad life.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if you know anything about his personal life, but like he was dating this woman who he was engaged to, and then they broke up, and then she was pregnant with his child, and then the child was stillborn. Ooh. And then, like, not that much long later, that his fiance died in a car crash.
Oh, God.
And so he's had this, like, really sad life.
Yeah.
And I think one of his sisters, like, had leukemia and, like, all kinds of stuff.
Damn.
But he has just, like, maintained this, like, nice attitude.
Yeah.
And he seems like he's just kind of unfazed by, like... his fame and like all this stuff, and he's just a very interesting and unique person. I think.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
He is wonderful, and I think I think he was a good choice.
Oh, he was a great choice.
I think everyone in this movie is a good choice.
Yes. Yeah. I was kind of talking about this before we started recording. I love Satan. This movie.
Peter Stormare.
Yeah. That like his portrayal of Satan was so good.
It's so weird.
It's oh no, it was very strange. There was that moment when Keanu was like, "Oh yeah, your son's in the other room trying to do whatever with Gabriel."
Yeah.
And Satan was like, "Is this just another one of your cons?" And Constantine was like, "Go look for yourself." Mm-hmm. And Satan, like, rushes him and then kind of, like, licks his face.
Yeah.
And then, like, walks off. I was like, that's so good.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so, like, think about, like, Satan and Supernatural, right?
Right.
He's just kind of like this... just like a guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's, like, he's scary. Mm-hmm. But as, like, the seasons go on, like leading up to him getting stabbed by Michael...
yeah. He's kind of just like he's like a spoiled brat.
Yeah. He's just like, he's very much like, no, daddy's not paying attention to me because he likes the humans more, right? Yeah. And he's just like throwing this huge temper tantrum. Mm. And in the early seasons when we meet Satan, he is kind of scary. Yeah. Right. But as the seasons go on, he loses his grace or whatever. He's like, whatever, he's not that scary. In this, I was like, damn, I don't want to meet that Satan. Yeah. Because he's terrifying. Mm-hmm. And so there's what's the other? Have you ever seen that other TV show? Fuck.
What's it about?
It's Satan Works.
Lucifer.
Lucifer. Yes.
I have not.
Yeah, that's another interesting portrayal of Satan, because like he's just like this like pimp.
Yeah,
and he just like he kind of just wants to do whatever he wants, and he's not like too concerned with like being evil, right? And he does this interesting thing where like he just asks people, I forget exactly what he asked, but he's like, you know, what's your greatest desire or something. And so he's not like directly interfering with people and having them make bad decisions. He's just like, what do you want? And then they go, oh, I want this thing. He's like, well, here, you can have it, right? It's that idea of like temptation and like tempting Eve. It's very like, I wouldn't say it's like biblically accurate, but the idea of him tempting people, I think, is very accurate. Yeah. And in Constantine, I think you get both the scary devil like aspect of him and the biblically accurate temptation side of it. And I think that actor did a fantastic job.
Yeah, that's he's great. Peter Stormare. Yeah. He's also in he's in another Keanu movie. He's in John Wick 2. He's at the very start. He's like, you know when John Wick is like he's taking back his car and he's like shooting all those people in that warehouse. Yeah. And he gets to the very end and there's the guy like sitting in the chair. Yes. That's Peter Stormare. Oh, okay. So he's just he's a character actor. Like he just shows up and stuff and he does something weird and then he leaves. But yeah, I like to, I don't know why you reminded me of this. I like that for some reason all the like angels and demons don't wear shoes. Yeah. I don't know why, but it's just like, I like that Gabriel's just like slapping Keanu with a wet foot. Like
yeah. And when Satan came down from wherever, his feet were just like covered in black goop. Yeah. It was kind of gross.
Yeah, I like that Satan's just gross. Yeah. Like, he's just like a gooey, like sweaty man. Yeah. And I, like you said, I love that moment where he like licks him for no reason. And I like too this idea that like, you know, God and Satan are in this battle for, you know, good or evil or whatever, but it's like a petty battle. Yes. And Satan is so petty that he's like, I'm fucking sick of Constantine, like, sending demons back. Yeah. And he's like, he wants to personally, like, drag him down to hell. And then when he's like losing, he's like, "No, you're not dying."
Yeah, like, we're taking the cancer away. Yeah, that's what he did, right?
I like that he pulls the tumors out, like physically. Yeah, I thought that was so cool. Yeah. So this is an action movie podcast. We haven't really talked about the action. No, it is.
What? Really? This is an action podcast? Damn.
What did you think of the action?
Oh, it was great. Yeah. I think. Because, you know, we know Keanu as, like, this great, like, martial artist. He did none of that.
No, in this movie.
But that's because Constantine doesn't do any martial arts.
No, he's not really throwing kicks or anything.
He's just this, like, depressed wet man that smokes too much. Yeah. And so he just fights dirty. And because there's not like a lot of like punching.
There's a little bit.
There's a little bit. The fight with the demon outside of that gas station.
Oh yeah,
was really interesting.
One's cool. Yeah.
Because he's fighting this demon who's just made of bugs.
Yeah.
And he's like grabbing like rebar and just like smacking these bugs around. Yeah. And I think this is right. Constantine is actually quite smart.
Yes.
And he's this like genuinely intelligent person, but he doesn't show it that often. Right. And so when he's fighting the bug man, he lures him out into the street and then it gets hit by
just a
truck.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious. And then he just like starts stomping on all the bugs for a little bit. But yeah, that whole fight was very interesting because he's like fighting this like viscous thing.
Yeah.
And so it was an interesting choreography.
Yeah. And I love the design of all the demons.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even the little, like, soldier demons.
Oh, yeah.
They have, like, no brain.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, like, half a head.
Yeah.
And And I think Keanu was talking about, like, that choice was to show, like, you know, the demons, like, they've had, like, their soul ripped out. So, like, their brain is gone. Like, they're just, like, a husk. Yeah. And, yeah, I love the design of that bug demon. Like, this weird, horrible, like, mass. Yep. And there's, like... Yeah.
Oh, the other fight that I really liked was the fight against Balthazar.
Oh, yeah.
Where he has the fucking brass knuckles with the crosses on them.
I was going to say, I love... It also shows up in Supernatural, and I think it shows up in... My God.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I come out from a family of loud sneezers.
I think it's in... Sorry. That's just... I feel... this is unrelated. I realize that oftentimes you have this ability to, like, tell a joke, like, while I'm not paying attention, and I just blow past it. Yeah. And I was listening to the Braven episode, and you made this joke that made me laugh out loud when I was re-listening, but in the moment I gave it nothing. And I felt so bad.
What was the joke?
We were talking about, like, Playboy or whatever, and, like, reading articles in Playboy, and you're all, surprisingly liberal.
Yeah.
And in the moment I was talking about whatever, and I just all, I just ignored it. And I was like, oh, that was a good joke. Yeah. And I gave it nothing. Yeah. So, just wanted to let you know, I do hear your jokes. It's excellent. Just sometimes I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. No, I get you. No worries.
Okay.
Anyway. The fight with Balthazar comes up in Supernatural. Brass knuckles.
I love any time there's, like, supernatural brass knuckles. I think they're so cool.
It's so good.
Like the idea that you're just like, I'm just gonna punch this demon, like,
yeah, or angel or whatever. Yeah, because like in Supernatural, like to kill an angel or like really fight an angel, you either have to have another angel,
right,
or an angel blade, right. And there, there's hand to hand, but like punching them doesn't do shit. You have to cut them. And so when we meet the MacLeoders and Ketch pulls out those brass knuckles and just bodies Cass, I'm like, finally, we can finally start punching angels in the face.
This is not a Supernatural podcast.
It's really not, and it should not be.
No, it should not be, because that show fucking exploded at the end. But
yeah,
one of the things I liked about later, Supernatural, and then also what I like about this movie is when they get into, like, creative ways of killing, like, supernatural things. Yeah. And what I loved about, like you said, like the Men of Letters season, even though Ketch turned out to be a nothing character, he just died.
He's
later.
Just a loser.
He's just a loser. I liked that when you first met him, he was this, like, supernatural hitman. Like, he had all these, like, like you said, like engraved, like brass knuckles, right? Like that he was willing to punch an angel, like, or that he had, like, holy water bombs and, like,
or the thing that would trap, like, a angel's grace,
right? Yeah. Or, like, I don't know, I love when they have, like, a supernatural, like, barbed wire or something, that they can just, like, take the head off or whatever. Right. And I love in this movie where he has, like, the holy water shotgun.
I loved that.
It's a crucifix, but it's a gun.
and the sight was also a cross.
Yes.
It was so good. We were talking to one of our friends last night that we were going to watch it. And he was like, I hate that movie. I can't get past the fucking crucifix shotgun. And when that came up, I was like, this is the greatest thing ever. How can you, like, hate this?
I know.
It's so good.
It's so good, and it's so, like, kitschy and, like, silly.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think part of the because that friend, like, is, like, he works at a comic book shop and he's really into comic books. And so I think that, crucifix shotgun never shows up in any of the comics, and it's super out of character.
Okay.
But, like, come on.
Yeah, it's great.
Like,
it's
when was the last time you saw a crucifix shotgun?
Never in my life.
It's so good.
I love it.
It was amazing.
It reminds me of, like, like in Did you ever watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No.
In that, they would often have like a gun that has like, you know, stakes in it or something.
Yeah.
You know, I love anytime they're just like, I don't know, put it on a gun. You know?
Yeah. Well, like, and unfortunately, I'm going to bring this back to Supernatural. They figured out how to just melt down angel blades and then put them into a gun.
Bullets. Yeah.
Which that also is fucking awesome. And they just put it in like a fucking AR-15 and they're just mowing down angels like a motherfucker.
I loved in this movie, we talking about that final fight with the shotgun. I love the idea of, they're like, oh, we'll just bless like the sprinkler system, you know, and turn it all into holy water. Yeah. Like, that's such a clever idea.
It's so good.
That he's like, oh, I'll just do that, you know? Yeah. And at first they're like, I don't know, can we do it? And Shia LaBeouf's character's, and I think his name's Chaz.
Chaz, yeah.
He's like, well, this Pope, like, you know, blessed this river or whatever. And they're like, fucking Chaz figured it out.
Yep. I also really like the way they went with like what happens to a demon when he gets holy water on them, which is that the skin just starts melting away. Yeah. And you see this horrible underside of the face. Yeah. Because it happens with Balthazar. Yes. Where he like throws it and like he turns basically into Two-Face. Yeah. Which was cool. And at the end of that fight, right, where Keanu was leaving with the what was her name? Not Isabel.
Her name is Angela.
Angela. He like turns around and like shoots him in the head, and his head like fucking explodes. Yes, yeah. And then whoever the fuck like comes in to talk to Balthazar. Who was that? Was that Gabriel? Do we know who came in to talk after that fight?
I think it's supposed to be Gabriel.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I figured. And what I thought was really cool was that like he was still technically alive. Yeah. And you could see, because like his face was like in two different parts, and he was talking, and both of those parts were like moving. Yeah. Very strange.
That was cool.
It was very cool. Very gross, because it does this like top down view, because he's like on his back. Yeah. On this like conference table. And it's almost like a blood or like a bug splatter on a windshield.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Which was really gross. And then he just kind of like gets blown away, like as dust. That whole fight was very good.
It was. Just talking again about like the design of stuff. Like, I think they just, like you said, just make interesting choices, right? Like, in a lesser, you know, even thinking about something like Supernatural, right? Yeah. When the demon gets whatever, it just basically explodes and it's gone. Yeah. And I liked that in this, it was like you know, like they have like a physical form, so they're like all beaten up and splattered and stuff. And it was something interesting was I was thinking about in that interview I was talking about, they talked about how Constantine is technically an R-rated movie. Yes. Like it's rated R, but it does they designed it as like a PG-13. Yeah. You know, like there's no real like blood or like whatever, and how they got slapped with an R rating basically just because of demons. And they said like, you know, there's this impending sense of dread throughout the movie, and it has to do with like, you know, this idea that America's very, you know, prudish when it comes to like, you know, Catholic, whatever. But what I do like is you can tell they were like, oh, we got an R rating. Well, let's just say fuck a bunch.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is also very much Constantine, because in those animated films, he's very vulgar.
Yes, yeah.
So, if you haven't seen any of those animated movies with Constantine, by the way, watch them. Yeah. They're so good.
There's a few. I think there's 2 now that are just Constantine. Yeah. I didn't watch either of them, but I thought about it.
That's fair. Well, do it, because they're great. They're fucking awesome.
I'm sure they are. The DC animated stuff tends to be pretty good. Yeah. I've not watched one in a long time, but...
Yeah. Apocalypse is really good.
I've heard that.
It's very good.
The last, like, DC animated thing I watched was... Oh, poo. What was it? It was Oh, Teen Titans versus the Justice League.
Oh, yeah.
Which was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It had fucking Damian Wayne in
yes.
it. Yeah.
Yep, Damian Wayne. He's... And I might get this wrong, but I think he currently... No,
Is he dead right now?
No, well...
He was dead for a little bit.
He died for a little bit, and then he came back to life.
Okay.
So originally, Teen Titans was led Dick,
yes,
I think.
Yeah.
But then Dick became
Nightwing,
and then it was taken over, and then the Teen Titans was taken over by Damian.
Okay.
Because Tim was the first Robin, right? He becomes Red Robin.
I thought Dick was the first Robin. Isn't it Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake?
Yes, that's right. Sorry. Yes, my bad. Yeah, so Dick... Oh, so then it might have been taken over by Tim briefly and then Damian.
Yeah.
But I think currently Damian is the, like, head of Teen Titans.
Oh, okay.
In any Teen Titans thing. But
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What
I was going to say, because who's the Teen Titans right now? Isn't it like... It's like Damian Wayne, it's Blue Beetle.
I think Cyclops... No,
Is Beast Boy still in it?
Yes, I think Beast Boy is still there. I think Starfire's there. Aqualad. Aqualad's there.
Aqualad.
I love Aqualad.
Comic books are so silly.
They're ridiculous. I'm trying to think, because I watched the Teen Titans show all the way through. Fuck.
Is it Superboy? Is there a Superboy?
Oh, yes,
right
there's a Superboy. Megan.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking...
Little Wonder Woman? Is that...
No, it's, Martian Manhunter's, like, cousin or something.
Oh, that, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so just an unkillable thing is on the...
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have technically two, because you have Superboy and...
Yeah, that's right.
And Martian Manhunter's cousin.
I think it's so funny, the idea of Martian Manhunter, who's just like, he's just Superman, but also he can shapeshift and go through walls, and he's green, and...
Yeah, he's just a better Superman.
But he's afraid of fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the current Teen Titans. I might be missing one. Oh, there was briefly no, that's right. Okay, so there was the Green Arrow had an apprentice who was all in red. I forget his name. Speedy. There was Speedy. He left the Teen Titans because he was like, this is bullshit.
I'm doing heroin. Yeah.
Well, he wanted to, like, fight with the Justice League, but the Justice League was like, you guys aren't ready yet.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, I think I'm ready. So he left the Teen Titans. Then we get the daughter of a villain. I forget her name.
What's her powers? What does she do?
Fuck. Well, okay, but the daughter also uses a bow and arrow.
Huntress?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. She joins the Teen Titans, and at first they're like, oh, well, they don't know that her mom is a villain, or was a villain.
It's not Huntress. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know.
Carry on.
Anyway, she's also part of the Teen Titans now. So it's her, Damie, Blue Beetle, Aqualad, Martian Manhunter's daughter, cousin, I think, Superboy, and I think one other person.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the current Teen Titans.
Okay. Sorry, everyone listening.
Oh, and Wally West.
Oh, yes.
Yes, Wally West, who dies at the end of Teen Titans.
Oh, that's right.
Well, my roommate would argue that he's not dead, he's just lost in the Speed Force, but I'm fairly certain he's dead.
Comic books are dumb.
Comic books are very dumb. Anyway, yeah, sorry for the long tangent.
That's been Comic Book Corner.
Yeah.
The show within a show.
Yeah. And we actually, to bring it back to Constantine, we see him fight, like, in one of those animated movies, we see him fight with the Teen Titans, because I think the Teen Titans were brought on to help fight Apocalypse.
Yes.
And then Constantine was sort of like in charge of everybody. He didn't want to be, but they were like, well, we need you because you have magic.
Yeah.
And so, and I think Zatanna is also... Zatara? I think Zatara is also on the Teen Titans.
Okay. Zatanna is the adult?
Yes. Yeah. And then Zatara is...
She's like a magician.
Yes. And I think Raven's also there.
There's still isn't wearing pants for some reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of Teen Titans.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Regardless.
Yeah. I don't remember how we got on that.
We were talking about the animated stuff.
Yes, before that, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. Wow.
We just sat quietly for a second.
Yeah. Action.
Yes.
Was there any other fighting? I mean, I guess
it's a lot of him putting his feet in water.
Yeah. Did he end up fighting Gabriel at all?
Sort of.
Kind of, yeah.
He tries to, and then Gabriel puts his weird foot on him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then
go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say one thing I was going to bring up earlier that I kept forgetting to mention. I like that this movie is kind of weirdly progressive in that they never... Like, Tilda Swinton is a woman.
Yes.
But Gabriel is very, like, androgynous.
Yes.
And they never say whether Gabriel's a man or a woman.
They just say, that's an angel.
That's an angel, yeah. Which I think is kind of fun. Like, it's an interesting...
Yeah.
Like, it feels like a choice, you know? Like, it's not, like, accidental. Like, they wanted Gabriel to be, like, androgynous.
Yes.
You know, I like the, like, gender fluidity of that character.
And it is a good idea... Only because, like, when you, like angels, when you think about angels, they don't really have gender.
Yeah, I mean...
And it doesn't make sense for them to have gender, and so...
They're just like a big ball of eyes and wings or whatever.
Yeah.
Feathers.
Yeah. And so... Yeah. No, that was a great choice. I enjoyed it. I love the idea that that club has the same rules as the Continental in John Wick, where you can't conduct business on grounds.
Yeah.
And then in classic Keanu fashion, he immediately breaks those rules. He punches a guy, and then he fights the owner. So
yeah. Jimon Hansu.
Yeah.
Best name in Hollywood, I think.
That was so good.
Pop-Up Midnight.
What was that chair?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they said it was like it used to be like an electric chair.
For what? They said what it was an electric chair for.
But I think it was so he could go to hell.
Yes.
And come back.
Yeah. But what was like the historical significance behind it?
They said it was in like San Quentin or something like that.
Oh, gotcha.
That it was this like famous, electric chair and killed like Manson and all, or not Manson. All these serial killers or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a cool... That was one thing that I was a little bit disappointed by, was it was like, they kept building it up, like, I need to use the chair or whatever. Yeah. But then it was just, he just did the same thing he did earlier. Yeah. Where he just went to hell. So it was kind of like, But, still, I mean, I liked...
Yeah. I loved hell. Yes. I think there's a really good depiction of hell. Because there was that one scene where we, like, saw... all of these people, like, just in pain. Yeah. And just writhing around. And, because, like, the hell in Supernatural is very boring. Yeah. It's just, like, cells full of people.
It's right? Just a set that they had laying around.
Yeah. And, when we first see hell, when Dean goes to hell, he's kind of, like, suspending. He's got these hooks. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then when we go back, it's just like, there's corridors. Yeah. The corridor, there's like, here's a cell, there's a cell.
It's just a hallway.
Yeah. You can hear screaming. There's a PA walking there.
Yeah, it's like a haunted house.
Yeah, exactly. And then, when we see Lucifer's cage for the first time, you're expecting this, like, big thing that's supposed to keep in this really powerful entity. It's literally just a cage.
Yeah.
In the middle of a fucking room.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, that hell was very boring, and so I liked this hell a lot.
And the director was talking about that in the original script. It was just a void.
Oh, okay.
Like they just wrote it as like it was blackness or whatever. And he said he liked the idea that hell was literally, like on the other side of you at all times.
Yeah.
This idea that like everywhere you step, there's a hell right beneath your feet.
Yeah.
And he talked about like the design of it. They looked at like nuclear test footage. Ooh. And so that idea of like right after the bomb lands, ooh, I just hit the mic. There's that like wind and there's like everything's blotted out with light and whatever. And that's kind of what they based it on.
That's so
And I thought that was such a clever like idea. And you're right. Yeah, it just looks super cool. Yeah. And even though the effect is a little bit dated, I don't think it's distracting. Like, there's no point where you're like, "Blah," It's just like, oh, that looks pretty good. You know?
Yeah. I did like how it was like a mirror image of the other world, because wherever Constantine showed up, like he was standing in that same place.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like. And they did this. There was like a couple of shots, I think, where they would like pan over, right, and show like, so here's the real world, and we're panning over, and you got to see like half and half. So you'd be like, there's the real world, and here's the mirror version in hell. Yeah, I thought that was a great effect.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
One person we didn't talk about that I just want to bring up because his character's name is really funny. Well, there's two. So he's got his little friend who's like gets his like stuff for him.
Oh yes,
his name's Beeman.
Beeman, I love Beeman,
and it's because he's like made of bees, apparently.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
Good with me.
Yeah.
A very literal name.
Yeah.
But there's also Pruitt Taylor Vince plays. He's this priest who can like hear demons.
Yeah.
And he eventually gets killed, but
unfortunately,
he's like a alcoholic.
Yeah,
and his character's name is Father Hennessy. Which
I get it now. Ha 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 ha! Very funny.
I didn't realize that until I was looking at the character names. I was like, oh, that's very good.
That's awesome. The way he dies is very tragic.
It is very tragic. Like, I felt bad for that guy.
Yeah, but it was cool how they did that whole like sequence, because like I can't remember where he started. Oh no, yeah, he was in the morgue.
Yeah,
and he saw the Isabel, and he saw the mark on her wrist, which we'll get to, because I thought that was also very interesting and the lore behind that.
Yeah.
And then he like started going crazy, and he went for his flask.
Yeah.
And he tried to drink it, but nothing was coming out. And my immediate thought was, oh, he's just out. That guy sucks. And then he dropped it and ran out, and it cuts back to it, and there was liquid, a good amount of liquid coming out. He then goes to a liquor store, and he's just breaking bottles, trying to get anything, and nothing's coming out. And then the instant he sets it down, liquid pours out.
Yeah.
And we don't realize until after he's like dead that he was actually drinking all of that. It's just he couldn't see it because something was like altering his mind to think that he wasn't.
So he like drunk himself to death.
Yeah. And it was really tragic. But then he like, and I thought this was, I didn't know exactly what he was doing at first when he was doing that, but he like take a corkscrew and he's like stabbing his hand.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, I guess he's just trying to like kill himself faster, which interesting you do that to your hand.
Yeah.
We find out he was doing the little symbol into his hand for Constantine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was very tragic. But great guy. I love that character. He's very fun.
And I liked that he was just like always sweating.
Yeah. Yeah. He was just wet.
Just wet and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I like that everyone's wet all the time in this movie. Yep. Like, Rachel Weisz spends a good amount of this movie just drenched. For no reason.
Yep.
It's very, this movie's very early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, the fashion and, like, the big clunky phones.
Yeah. The way that freaking Angela held her phone pissed me off.
Yes.
I hated that. Like, hold it like a person, you weirdo. Anyway, sorry to the actor, but...
No, it's okay. I have a couple little things that I wanted to bring up that I just couldn't find a good spot for. So, the fight choreography in this was done by Chad Stahelski.
Okay.
Who, he's the director of John Wick.
Okay.
So that's a fun, little thing for you.
Cool.
He also is Keanu's stunt double. Or he was. He's not anymore. But for a long time, he was Keanu's stunt double. I think including on, like, The Matrix and a few other big movies like that. My hardcore movie buffs will also know that Chad Stahelski was the stand-in for Brandon Lee after Brandon Lee was killed on the set of The Crow. So he's got, like, a couple of different things. You're looking at me very confused.
I've never heard of Brandon Lee or The Crow.
So there's this movie called The Crow.
Okay.
We'll watch it eventually, and I'll get more into this. But that movie, the lead actor in that film is Brandon Lee, who was Bruce Lee's son. And he was killed on the set of that film when a prop gun went off. And there's a very complicated, like, history. But essentially he was killed instantly.
Okay.
And so he died very young, very similar to his father.
Yeah.
But that movie was like 90% done when he was killed. And so they had to get like a stand-in for the rest of them,
gotcha.
rest of the shots. And that was Chad Stahelski. So,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, he's and now he's known mostly for directing John Wick, which, good on him.
Yeah. Moving up in the world.
Yeah. And stunt coordination was done by R.A. Rondell. I also saw... Was it in this? Oh, no. Never mind. Sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Anyway, music was done by Brian Tyler and Klaus Badelt.
It's very good.
It is very good, and the reason it's very good is because Brian Tyler did music for, like... He's done, like, all kinds of shit. He did, like, the NFL music.
Holy shit. Wow.
So that, like, da-da-da-da-da-da, that's him.
Wow.
He also did the music for Iron Man 3. He did the music for... there was some other big, like, thing that we all know now, and that was him. But anyway, so he's, like, huge. And Klaus Badelt did Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, so
Hell yeah.
the dun 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 dun, that's him.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it's really good in this.
It's so good.
And I like that it's a lot of, like, guitar.
Yeah.
Like a lot of or whatever, Yeah, music's great.
It's awesome.
I think that's all I had. Am I missing anything? No, I think I've brought up everything I want to bring up.
Excellent.
Did you have any final thoughts about the movie?
I thought the lore behind Jesus and that Spear of Destiny was really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because they basically said that Jesus didn't die because of the crucifixion. He died because he got stabbed by a spear on the crucifix. And then that spear, because it was used to kill him, it was stained with his blood and became like a holy artifact.
Yes.
And it was like its sole purpose was to like help bring back the devil's son.
Yes.
And it gave you this like mark. And when we first see it, I thought this was cool because the movie opens up with this like little dialogue of like the Spear of Destiny has been lost and it hasn't been found since World War I.
Right.
And the first shot is like in Mexico and we see these two guys. They're like looking around for whatever. They're just like scavengers and they're at this, I guess it's a church, like a rundown, busted up church or something. And his leg like goes through the floor and he like looks down there and he sees something and he pulls it out. And they never show it, but you know what it is. Yeah. And it's a Nazi flag. Yes. That is wrapped around the head of this spear. Yeah. And then he gets the mark. And then he gets hit by a car. Yeah. And I out loud went, "Oh fuck." Yeah. But like he doesn't die. The car like crunches around him and then he just walks away. Yeah. And I was like, that mark kept him alive. Yeah. And I didn't put it together until about the end that I was like, that's the spear of destiny, because at first it looked like a knife.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, that's weird. Why would they talk about the spear of destiny and then show us a knife? Mm-hmm. Turns out it just was cut off from the fucking thing. Yeah. But yes, I thought that was very cool. Mm-hmm. I love like when movies and TV shows do like this. I love just hearing like the world building and the backstory behind a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because like that spear, that's so cool, right?
Yeah.
This idea that like Jesus didn't die on the crucifix because he was crucified. He died because some jackass stabbed him.
Yeah. That's very Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Like very.
Yeah.
Supernatural. I think at one point in Supernatural they looked for the Spear of Destiny or found it.
Something like that.
Because I think they were going to use it to kill the darkness. Or something. We talked about Supernatural a lot this episode.
Yeah, we did. Which is unfortunate. I apologize. It's not a very good show. Should have stopped after season 5.
Yes. Yeah, it comes up a few times in different things.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I love anytime there's like Christian mythology.
Yeah.
I think that's so fun.
It's very cool.
Go ahead.
And just like, I think, damn.
The dog is going to town down there.
Oh.
Can you lick your nuts some other time? Thank you.
Yeah, the Catholic imagery in this movie was astounding. Mm-hmm. Really over the you need to cut. It is fucking sloppy down there. Hey, Neo.
Thank you. Hi, baby. My dog's name is Neo.
Yeah.
I'm a big
after Neopets.
Big nerd. Yes, after Neopet. No.
Anyway,
he's not happy. Okay,
that's fine. Anyway, what?
This is a loose episode.
It's very loose. Anyway, that was my final thought. Just that spear. I love that. That was very cool.
It was very cool. But I think that's everything.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all I have.
Okay, bye. No.
All right. Adios. Oh, the one thing I did want to bring up, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I thought it was just really interesting how it was good how they did that that first woman that John has to like exercise and she's like crawling on the wall.
Yes.
That scared the fuck out of me.
That was pretty creepy.
That was terrifying.
She was like a spider. Like in the corner.
Yeah. And it was interesting how when they got like were possessed by a demon, like their entire like physicality changed.
Yeah.
Like their face kind of warped and it became this like super gross like look, and they started sort of kind of like losing like what they look like.
Right.
And I thought because like I hate Supernatural. In Supernatural, right, when you get possessed by a demon, you don't change. You just are there. You're basically just a meat suit. You're like a puppet for the demon. You don't change. The only thing that really changes is the eyes, and that's only when they want to.
Yeah.
Right? In this movie, they were like, when you're possessed by a demon, you can fucking tell.
Yeah.
Right? Which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I just zoned out. I was thinking about Supernatural.
Oh, sorry.
What a wasted potential. Anyway.
Yeah, that was a rough.
I should say, I saw every single episode of Supernatural. Like, all the way through.
Yeah.
All 15 seasons. All 200 plus episodes.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yep.
And it's just, like, it's so sad.
It really, and, like, it has some good moments. Like, like, season 10, I think, is really the last good season. Because then everything after that, like, it has its moments, right? There are some good episodes in seasons 11 through 15.
Yeah.
But, man, does it fall off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
It's real bad. It
suffers.
Yeah.
Anyway, this isn't a supernatural podcast.
God, no.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
If you've
made it this far.
If you made it this far. We appreciate you listening.
Yep.
And so if you liked this episode, you can leave us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
You can do it, write an app. You can write something nice. Write something not so nice. Yeah. But just make sure it's 5 stars.
Yeah. Just recommend this to your friends and family.
Yeah.
Or your barber.
Yeah.
Or your pizza guy.
Or your pizza guy. Or your favorite
WWE wrestler.
Yes. Send a link to the show.
Yeah.
To the big show.
Yep. There you go.
Or to John Cena.
Or HGTV.
HGTV.
The Property Brothers. Get the Property Brothers. Hooked on Viva La Action.
Yes. The one that's married to that lady. I can't remember her name. Did you see that tweet where somebody was like, I thought the Property Brothers were married to each other?
I did not see that tweet, but that's very funny.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
If you would like to ask a question to the Property Brothers, you can email us
at Viva La Action
at gmail.com.
Yep.
You can find us on social media.
Oh, wait, we forgot to rate the movie.
Oh, fuck.
Whoopsie.
What did you rate it out of 10? Fuck me. I gotta do this all over now. God damn it. Oh well.
We can keep it in.
It's fine.
Oh no, just cut the rating, put it...
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
just,
that'll make sense.
Yeah, just do that. I don't know anything about editing.
That's fine. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're smart.
No.
Smarter than I am.
No.
Those are heart handcuffs.
What? Oh, yeah. on that.
Oh my God.
Okay. We should explain. We record in... We've gone so far off. The room we record in is... I live in a house, right? My wife and I. And we have a guest room that has become the catch-all K-pop room.
Yeah.
And so this room is covered in posters from various K-pop bands. But most notably, we have a lot of BTS merch in here. And there's a poster on the wall of the 7 lads from BTS. And Jungkook has some heart-shaped handcuffs on his belt.
And they're pink. Oh, and then pink. V also has some.
Yes.
That he's actively wearing.
He is, yes. We should take a picture and put it on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Of where we record every week. It's very professional.
Oh, it's great. We're crammed in front of the bed.
We use like a fold-out table. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
But to support us so we can get out of this room. We're trapped in here.
Anyway,
it's
rating
hot in here. Yeah.
Oh, it is very hot in here.
What'd you rate it? 7 BTS lads out of 7.
No. Honestly, okay, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. I could tell that it was a product of its time. We'll go... Fuck. 6.8.
Oh, okay.
6.8. It was good, but there was... It kind of jumped all over the place.
Yeah.
And there were some spots where I was like, yeah, that could have been done better.
Okay.
But I still really, really enjoyed it. I think it was great. So.
Okay. I'm gonna say 7.5.
7.5.
I really liked it. I really liked all the choices. I think it's just it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a little slow in parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like. I think some of the action's a little floaty towards the end. Like it's not super weighted or anything, but just for the performances and the design choices alone, it's a 7.5 out of 10 for me.
Excellent.
And then if you'd like to follow us on social media, to return back to my tangent, you can follow us at Viva La Action on Instagram and Facebook, and we are at Action Viva on Twitter. If you'd like to recommend something to the show, I already said this part, but you can email us at vivalaaction@gmail.com. We are on TikTok at Viva La Action. You can find Grayson under the bed.
Yep.
And you'll find me at your local K-pop concert.
There you go.
Holding up a sign that says, "Marry me,
Jungkook."
My dog's middle name is Jungkook. That's not a joke.
Wait, deadass?
Yeah, deadass.
Holy shit, that's what's up.
His name is Neo Jungkook Atreides Romero.
Atreides?
Yeah, for Dune.
Oh. Excellent.
I'm a normal man, and this has been Viva La Action. Goodbye.
Well, my dog's name is Max Mercury after the DC comic character.
Good.
So.
Good. Goodbye.
Bye.
That hurt your throat? It sounded like it did. Oh, okay. I forgot to hit stop. Say something wacky. Record.
Press record.
Press record. Seriously? He just quitted into the grocery store? Saw that on a TikTok.
Yeah. Oh,
Do you like how I say TikTok like an old man?
Yeah.
A TikTok.
On the TikTok.
I saw one of them TikToks. One of them tickety-tickety-tocks.
Tickety.
Tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety-tickety. Okay,
TikTok on the clock.
Tick-tock on my cock. Okay.